my name is Lwandile. I'm here with Phatheka and Zizipho, and we're here doing a podcast about the play The Tempest by William Shakespeare. We will be exploring on the themes which are illusion of justice, control and power, also revenge and forgiveness. So our first speaker will be Zizipho, who will give us a clue of what was happening on the theme illusion of justice. Over to you.
So let's get into the first existing theme, which is the illusion of justice, which means that some things looks right and fair, but not completely fair and true in reality. So the Tempest tells a story about Prospero's brother Antonia, who steals his drone. So Prospero wants to fix this wrong and become powerful again. So let's get into justice. So justice is not simple. The play talks about justice, but justice here is subjective, and Prospero is the one who's in control. So on his idea of justice, dominates. So Prospero is not completely fair. He says he was treated badly, which is true, but he also treats others badly. He controls and enslaves Ariel and Caliban. So this makes him hypocritically, as he does the same wrong things he complains about. So Prospero's justice is one-sided. Prospero's idea of justice is mostly about what benefits him. There is no higher rule or authority to say what is truly right or wrong. So the play feels morally unclear. Prospero is seen as the writer of this play. At some point, as the story continues, Prospero becomes like a storyteller or author. So he controls everything, just like William Shakespeare controlled the play. This means that Prospero is shaping events the way a writer shapes a story. So justice in stories versus in real life. So the writers often make stories where their version of justice wins. So in the play, Prospero creates a happy ending for everyone. Because of this, the audience accepts his idea of justice. Let's get into how Prospero convinces others. He uses magic and tricks. All this help shows how the characters think and convince the audience he is right. So this is what happens at the end of the play. Prospero forgives his enemies. He frees Ariel and Caliban, and he gives up his magic. He becomes just an old normal man. So at the final meaning is that the play is not really about justice in real life, but it is about how art creates its own justice.
Thank you so much, Zizipho. Now we are moving forward to Phatheka, who will be giving us what was happening with power and control in this play.
So focusing on the theme of power and control that has been seen through the characters on the island. The island where the story takes place seems almost empty and full of possibilities, which makes many characters in the play imagine what kind of society they can build there. And so focusing on the theme of power and control as seen through the characters on the island where the story takes place seems almost empty and full of possibilities, which makes many characters imagine what kind of society they can build there, and more importantly, how they might roll it. So for several characters, The island represents freedom, opportunity, and power because it is isolated and uninhabited. They see it as a blank space where they can start over and shape the world according to their own ideas. But the play also shows how these dreams and of power contain moral problems. First, we see through Prospero, the play's protagonist and the father to Miranda, who was the Duke of Milan before he was overthrown, or rather exiled. After being exiled from Milan, Prospero takes control of the island and turns it into a place where he can rebuild his life. He raises his daughter, the Miranda, and uses magical powers to control the environment and being who lives on the island. In many ways, Prospero acts like a colonial ruler, asserting authority over the land and over others who live there. The most important figures affected by this control is Caliban. Caliban is the son of Sycorax, a powerful witch who once lived on the island after being exiled from Algeria. Before Prospero arrived, Caliban lived there alone and believed the island belongs to him. However, after Prospero takes power, Caliban becomes his servant, or more accurately, his slave. This situation introduces the perspective of the colonized person. Caliban complains that he once ruled the island himself, suggesting that Prospero has taken away his freedom and his rightful home. At first, the audience may feel sympathy for him because he is mistreated and constantly threatened with punishment by Prospero and tormented by magical spirits. But Shakespeare complicates this sympathy. Caliban later encounters two drunken newcomers, which were Stefano and Tranquillo. Instead of seeking independence, Caliban quickly begins to worship Stefano as a potential new master. He even encourages Stefano to kill Prospero and take control over the island. Stefano is immediately excited by the idea. He imagining marrying Prospero's daughter and becoming the king of the island, while giving positions of power to his companions. In his mind, the island becomes a kingdom where he can rule easily and enjoy its magical wonders like produced by spirit. So this theme highlights that people can use power in order to control others.
Thank you so much, Phatheka. Moving forward, I'll be representing the themes of forgiveness and revenge. And the play begins with the theme of revenge, in which the character Prospero, who is the protagonist, is showing behind his action that the Duke of Milan was the position of Prospero before his brother Antonio deceived him and took the position to himself with the help of the King of Naples. After all this Prospero was left stranded with his young daughter Miranda. They were abandoned at the sea and arrived on the island where they built their new life. After several years, Prospero hears that the people who deceived him are sailing close. His intention was to bring them close, so he used his spirits like Ariel to confuse, frighten, and guide his enemies. He did all this to see them suffer, and then he realizes the wrong they did to him, which replicates his emotions of his rape and longing for payback. Going through the play as it continues, the theme of forgiveness steadily turns into the important theme than revenge. Prospero had the power to take revenge, but he instead chose peace. As Prospero seeks revenge, but watching other characters' reactions on the strange events on the island, Prospero sees signs of regret from the people who have betrayed him and notice of change. As time goes on, we then find Miranda and the son of the King of Naples, Ferdinand, falling in love with the then introduces the sense of hope and reconciliation. With this relationship, this could mean the families can possibly end the conflict between them. Before the play comes to an end, Prospero takes up the courage to forgive his enemies and not take revenge. In forgiving his enemies, he even gives up his magical powers to prove that he will no longer need them in order to control the people around him. Thank you so much for watching. As we close today, I would like to know if you enjoyed the podcast.